Good evening, Sani. So we've just gone online, I believe. Hello, all of you. So, firstly, I would like to thank Head Through This for her donation. It's the second time she's donated, and it's really kind of her. So, I hope you're all well, and we're going to have another class in the same vein, same style as we always have. Perfect timing as always, Camp Beauty. I like that. Good evening, Boyka. Good evening, VG. So, I hope you're all well and avoiding this dreaded virus. Good evening, Anderson. Nice to see you. So, I think it's probably time we got started. I'm fine, thank you, Anderson. And so, where do I start? Yes. Okay, we want one of these idioms. So, if something annoys you, what do you say? What do you say? So, good evening, Montespan. Nice to see you as well. Okay, so if something really annoys you, good evening, Human, and Ayed, and Manu. Okay, yeah, brilliant. So if something really annoys you, it gets your what? Good evening, I'm Rock Fan. Ha. It gets my something annoying. Good evening, Idita. Good evening, Yvette. So if something annoys you, it gets on my nerves. That would do. Okay, and then Vitaly is right in there. So it makes me upset, I would say, Aboud. It gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves. The phrase is it gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves. But it gets my... Okay, very good, Javi, as well. Good evening, Anglova. So, a good answer from Vitalia and a good answer from Javi. If something really gets on your nerves, it gets your goat. This is what we say in English. It really gets my goat when people are rude. It gets my goat. Yeah, you know a goat is an animal like a sheep. It gets my goat, not my guts, my goat. It's an animal with horns, these horns on. Yeah, if something gets your goat, it really annoys you. So, I don't know, it gets my goat when people are unfair. So, let's try this next one then. Things started to go wrong. Things went something shaped. Yeah. So, you'd say it gets on my nerves, Yvette. Good evening, Mike. How are you today? Good evening, Tash. Okay, Vitaly. Things went out of shape. So, yeah. And so, Vitaly and Danielle. Okay, Beauty, it would be out of shape. Yeah? But no, things went out of shape. Things went, so we've got lots of answers now. So, Vitaly and Danielle and then Victor, pear-shaped. Human, pear-shaped. Rockfan, pear-shaped. Well done, Englover. Yes, that's it, head through this. Lavinia, pear-shaped. If things go pear-shaped, they go wrong. Yeah, if things go wrong, they go pear-shaped. So my plan started to go pear-shaped after a few minutes. So let's write this one here. Pear-shaped. To go pear-shaped, to go wrong. You can't say apple-shaped. It's got to be pear-shaped. I'm certain I did a video on pear-shaped. Ha. In Minsk. Wow. Ha. So you're... Minsk, that's quite a place to live in. That's in Belarus, isn't it? So, pear-shaped, that's the idea, Manu. So, what is worth 1,000 words? What is worth 1,000 words? Friends is worth 1,000 words. To go belly up, that's a good phrase, Javi. I like that. Yeah, things went belly up. So that's it, hubby. Yes. What is worth 1,000 words? An action. A silence. Silence is worth 1,000 words. A kiss. So, as hubby said, and Jojo, and Boyka, and Adieta said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's it, get through this. In English, we say silence is golden. Yeah? Silence is golden. But a picture is worth 1,000 words. What it means is it's much easier to explain things with a picture than it is with words. Okay, Vitaly, there we go. Yes. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's a better explanation. Let's see if I want to explain this to you. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, probably not in English. Eh, if I speak, speak is silver, silence is gold. That's it. Or golden with an en. That's it, man. Or a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay, so Count Beauty's watching. Shalom Renyard. And so Count Beauty and Vitaly, it was a big surprise. It was unexpected. It came out of the left field. Very good, hubby. I wasn't ready for that one. I wasn't thinking about that. Confucius said a picture's 1,000 words. Thanks for sharing that one, Jojo. Blue. It came out of nowhere as well. It came out of the blue. It came out of the blue. So, who man? Ein Rockfan, get through this. Okay, blue, no S, Englover. It came out of the blue. Ein Rockfan. It came out of the blue. It came out of nowhere. It came out of left field, like Harry said. So it came out of the blue. Let me put this here. It came out of nowhere. And it came out of left field. Okay, so we got lots of good answers here. It came out of the guard. It caught you on guard. So, Dago, good, well done. Out of left field, they say. I think that's Cyril. Yeah. Okay, so we probably need another one of these to get into the space. So if something's unexpected, it comes out of the blue. His question came out of left field. His question came out of nowhere. Yeah, came out of the sky. That's the idea of came out of the blue, but it came out of the sky. Okay, so if something comes out of the blue, it's a big surprise. So I think maybe this virus has come out of the blue to all of us. Good evening, Vineet. Okay, so I would like me to do a bit of an American accent. I can only do from the southern states. Good evening, Manjira. Very good, Vitalier. And I think that's Siri. Siri, yeah? To pin a needle. So, our Eastern students are doing very good, very well with this. And get through this. Yes, if a space is very small, it has all come out of the blue to us. Good evening, Sagar. Good evening, Amir Hossein. And Montespan, that's it. So, room to swing a cat. This is quite an aggressive phrase. Not enough room to swing a cat. This is quite. So the room that I had to live in when I was at university was so small there wasn't room to swing a cat. Yeah, not a bat, a cat, Jayesh, a cat, the animal. Meow. Okay, so if a space is really small, there isn't room to swing a cat. Yeah, swing a cat, that's it, Manjira, rock fan. Okay, so there isn't room to swing a cat. This next one talks about transferring a problem to someone else to pass the very good Vitalier and Sarah as well. Um, good morning, Rajendra. And VG, well done. That's very good, Victor Gabriel. And Javi, to pass the buck. Yes, Gertrudis, the buck. Human, the buck. That's how language works. Yes, so. And Yvette to pass the buck. Rock fan, well done. And Lavinia to pass the buck. I think this is an American phrase. A buck is a word for $1. But you pass the problem on to somebody else. You pass the buck. Pass the hot potato. That would probably work, Manu. And good evening, Alexander. Okay, so Manjira's got it, but pass the buck. No, Boyka, not the electricity, the buck. Yes. Okay, so to pass the buck. The next one is a phrase meaning to pay a lot of money for something. Okay, that's good, Heidi yet. There isn't room to swing a cat. A buck is also an animal, but the reason for the buck being the dollar is I think the skin of a buck was worth $1. So, Vitalie, absolutely again. Siret again. Count Beauty through the teeth. No, I think it's the other part of the mouth. President Truman said the buck stops here. I always heard it was J. Edgar Hoover. Hair. Okay, absolutely, Harvey. Good evening, Wilted Flower. Wonderful to see you here. So, correct Miriam, correct Sire, correct Danielle, correct Victor Gabriel, correct Tomac, correct Manjira, correct Lavinia, correct Yvette, Gertrudis, Alexander, Adam. It cost me an arm and a leg. That's a good phrase as well. No, not the teeth. I was thinking about that. The nose. Yeah, so you have to pay through the nose. If you pay through the nose, I can imagine that's very painful. But, okay, to pay through the nose. So, it was really expensive and I had to pay through the nose. Good evening, Om. Ram, yes, I love it. So the next one I think is quite a difficult one. To tell someone something they already know, or to argue an opinion they already agree with. You are preaching to, very good Vitalia again, and Tomek. So, you see this word, it's written CHOIR, Mike. They pronounce it choir. It cost me a bomb. It cost me a bundle. Yes, both of those work. Yeah, it costs a bomb. It costs a bundle. Well done, Yvette. The choir. Hubby, the choir. Jayesh, the choir. VG, the choir. Preaching to the choir. Okay, so if you're preaching to the choir, you're saying things that people already agree with, or to a group that already agrees with this. Thank you, Lavinia. That's really kind. It's really kind of you. So, preaching to the choir. Okay, the choir. The choir is a group of people in a church who sing, and they're the singers belonging to the church. Yeah, it's not the audience in the church. The choir. These are the people who sing for the church. Yeah, or to the converted. Yes, Vitalia, you are absolutely right. Converted. Preaching to the converted as well. Converted. Preaching to the converted, very definitely. A group of singers. Yeah, a group of singers belonging to a church. So, very good indeed. Good evening, Eop. That's very good, Danielle. You were in there quick. And Tomek's got both of them. Convincing the convinced, exactly. Preaching to the choir. Preaching is telling somebody what they should and shouldn't be doing. Okay, so we've got lots of good answers here. So, Javi, yes, as you say, skinny dipping, and your birthday suit, as Montespan says. Good, Adam. Yeah. Your skin suit, your birthday suit. Absolutely, Javi. So, to swim in the river is called, we call it skinny dipping. Skinny dipping. So, when I was a kid, we very often used to go very often used to go skinny dipping. Yeah, and you go skinny dipping in your birthday suit. Exactly, your birthday suit. And this one means naked because when you were born, your day of your birth, you are naked. So the day you were born, you come out naked in your birthday suit. So you go skinny dipping and you're in your birthday suit. So, okay. He's very old. He's long in the... He probably doesn't have any left. Skinny dipping birthday. Absolutely, Vitaly. Javi. That's it. First answer in there from Javi. That's the right one. In the singular. He's long in the... I would normally say singular, Vitaly. Yeah, well done, Alexander. That's very good. And Jojo as well. Manjira. Wow, we've got a lot of people who know a lot of idioms here. So this is the phrase. It's Adam's suit. I love that phrase. Russian. Well done, Gaurev. Good evening, Gaurev. And Danielle, long in the tooth. Yes, definitely. So, tooth. If somebody's long in the tooth, well done, head through this. And Yvette and Vitaly, that's better. Long in the tooth. Okay, so, yeah, I'm a bit long in the tooth nowadays. He's no spring chicken, absolutely, Danielle. And Abdullah, the long in the tooth sounds great to me. Let's do one more before we do the story. Yeah, long in the tooth. Yes, that's it, Adam, as well. Okay, so, well, I'm long in the tooth. It's an idiom to say, somebody's old. Is it related to horses? I honestly don't know, but it sounds very related to horses. That's correct, Tom. Does anyone out there know if long in the tooth is related to horses? Okay, so what colour do we associate with envy, with jealousy? He went bananas with envy. That would do, Victor Gabriel. Okay, no, Montespan, it's not yellow. In Spanish, in lots of languages, it's yellow, but in English, it is green. Yeah, as he went amok with envy, that would work. So, Ein Rockfan, Sarah, and Jayesh, green, Nora, green with envy, Yvette, green, head through this green, Victor Gabriel, lol. So, green with envy, Danielle, Tomek, green, Manjira, green, Javi, green, Vitaly, green. Okay, and Charles Payne, good evening. No, it's okay, but Montespan, that's why you're here. The more mistakes you make, you will get it. Of course, long in the tooth comes from receding gums. Absolutely. That's just before all your teeth fall out. So, Mike, not pale with envy, but green with envy. He went pale with fright. Yes, okay, thank you, Javi. Yeah, it's one of the things people do when they're buying horses, is they definitely look at their teeth. Okay, so let's change and let's try a story. This story is called The Two Enemies. Yeah, it's called The Two Enemies. And the questions are, what are the two parts of the ship mentioned in the story, and where are they? Why was the man relaxed about dying, and what moral would you give the story? So this story, it's called The Two Enemies. We want to know, what are the two parts of the ship mentioned in the story? Where are they? Why was the man relaxed about dying? And what moral would you give the story? Yeah, that's a good phrase. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Don't see if it's long in the tooth or not. So, listen. There were two enemies who had set sail on the same ship. They wanted to keep their distance from one another. So one went to the prow, while the other one went to the stern. Each man then stayed where he was. Soon a fierce storm began to blow, and the ship began to sink. The man at the stern asked the captain which part of the ship was likely to sink first. "It will be the prow," said the captain. "Good," said the man. "The thought of death does not trouble me as long as I see my enemy die before me." So, Haida yet, green, absolutely. And cattle as well, wilted flower. Yes, cattle, of course. So, what are the two parts of the ship mentioned? Where are they? Why was the man relaxed about dying? And what moral would you give the story? So, there were two enemies who had set sail on the same ship. They wanted to keep their distance from one another. So one went to the prow, while the other went to the stern. Each man then stayed where he was. Soon a fierce storm began to blow, and the ship began to sink. The man at the stern asked the captain which part of the ship was likely to sink first. "It will be the prow," said the captain. "Good," said the man. "The thought of death does not trouble me as long as I see my enemy die before me." So we're starting to get some answers. That's good, Englover. That's good, Human. We still need to know where those bits are as well. Okay, so two parts of a ship, the and the. So yes. Ein Rock fan, the man was relaxed because he was going to see his enemy, singular, die first. That's good. Montespan, the parts of the ship are each in the back and the rear. That's good, Montespan. Beauty. One is a PROW, PROW. Beauty. Another is the stern. Notice it's normally the prow and the stern because there's only one in a boat. The man was relaxed because he was sure about the death of his enemy at first. The moral is laughing those who laughs in the end. So beauty. He who laughs last laughs longest. So Adam, one more letter, an N, Mangira. Prow and stern are the two parts of the ship. So, thank you, Reynard. Stern is the back part of the ship, and the prow is the front part of the ship. So I'm going to put these here. Stern, back, and prow, front. The stern and the prow of a ship. Okay, wow, we suddenly had a lot more. Joe Quigley, the prow, the front, the stern, the rear. Good, Jojo. Boyka, so the two parts are prow with an O and the stern. That's fine, Boyka. Stern and prow. Very good, Daniela. Abud, he was happy about dying because he prefers to see, not to seize, to see his enemy die, to see his enemy die before himself. That was important, not to him, rather than sinking after all. Absolutely, Mike. The prow is the front, the stern is the back. No clue about the moral. Well, people are strange. That's very good, Mike. Charles, the bow, that's another word for it as well. I said prow, but Mike's but Charles's answer of bow is also perfectly valid. Um, yeah, the bow is the front, the stern is the rear. Elizabeth, stern at the front. No. Stern at the back, prow at the front. The front is the prow. The man was relaxed as long as he sees his enemy dying. Perfect. Head through this. Prow and stern. Good work. Manu, the two parts of the ship are the prow, the stern and the prow. Good. And Englova, man can make great sacrifices to see his enemy in pain. That's a great moral. Ein Rock fan. The two parts are the prow and the stern. Victor Gabriel, first prow and stern. Second, because he knew his enemy would die as well. Moral, he who laughs last laughs longest. Notice this one, Count Beauty, what Victor Gabriel's written. He who laughs last laughs longest. And Boyka, the man was relaxed about dying as long as he was able to see his enemy dying before him. Perfect English. And Ricardo, the moral, foolishness has no price. Has no price. Has not a price. No, has no price is better. Nora, the moral can be eye for an eye, always leads to drastic or fatal repercussions. Good English, Nora. And Tomek, the man was relaxed about dying because he could see his enemy die first. Good English. The guy on the stern must have been German. Yeah, a German and an Englishman, I can see it. So, prow and bow, they're identical. The bow of the ship, the prow of the ship. Both the same. The prow, so Manu, the prow is the front and the stern is the back. It's the opposite, Manu. And Lavinia, the enemies want to keep their distance. One part is the prow and one is the stern. They are on the ship. That's great. Habi, the lesser of evils, you can relish your foe's death, at least for a bit. Good, I like that verb to relish, Habi. And Mangira, the man was relaxed after being assured that his foe would meet his death before he would. Good English, Mangira. There is a storm. The man at the stern is relaxing. Is relaxed would sound better, Lavinia. Abood, like board and starboard. To the right side. Yes, that's very good, Abood. You know about ships. Montespan, you reap what you sow. That's very good. So Elizabeth, curiosity killed the cat. Not a cat, but the cat. Good evening, Sally. And Jojo, moral, it's a shallow victory. I would probably say a hollow victory, but shallow works. If you last only a few minutes more than your enemy. I think that's very true. Rajendra, you have to stay calm in any circumstances. And Victor Gabriel, thanks. What you give comes back, Danielle. What goes around comes around. Humour takes it all. Okay, so let's put this story up so that we can read it. And then we can go to maybe the last bit. So, Abdullah, the man was so satisfied that he would see his foe dying in front of his eyes. Absolutely. You missed the beginning of the video, Sally. Well, that makes it a bit harder. So let's read. There were two enemies who had set sail on the same ship. They wanted to keep their distance from one another. So one went to the prow, the front, while the other went to the stern. Each man then stayed where he was. Soon a fierce storm began to blow, so it was a tempest, and the ship began to sink. Glug, 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 glug. The man at the stern, the back, asked the captain which part of the ship was probable to sink first? Yeah, which part was probable to sink first? It will be the prow. It will be the front, said the captain. Good, said the man. The thought of death does not trouble me. And we need the next piece to appear. So the thought of death does not trouble me. It doesn't worry me, the idea of dying. As long as, on condition that, I see my enemy die before me. So, the Grim Reaper comes to everyone sooner or later. Too right, Habby. Yes, you can replay this in video form later. That's a pleasure, Danielle. Manjira. Envy is stronger than all other enemies. That's very good, Manjira. Good evening, Hossein. Better late than never, I quite agree. And Danielle Guevara, good evening. It's nice to see you. And Tomek, the moral, we're all in the same boat. That's very good, Tomek. And Englover, the man was relaxed about dying because he did not leave the beautiful world to someone who he thinks does not deserve the earth. Absolutely. So, the mystery of the Titanic, Aboud. Ein Rock fan. I think there's no clear moral, but the conclusion is the man hated so much his enemy. The man hated his enemy so much, you need to change the word order, that he did not care about the fact he was going to die, but just thought about seeing his enemy dying. The moral is, ignorance, know thee, Lavinia. Ignorance kills the enemy. And Elizabeth, the moral is to choose the prow always. Manjira, that's a pleasure. Who's the author? The author of nearly all of my stories is Aesop. Aesop was a Greek slave from about 500 BC. At least this is attributed to him. I like to use his stories because I think they're nice, simple stories and people can understand them. Yes, it follows the law of karma. Yeah. Hater is the killer incarnate. Lol, that's very good. So let's try a couple of questions. Even when we're born, they slap our asses. I think I quite agree with that. So let's see a couple of questions. So where do penguins live? Where do penguins live? Where do penguins live? We're going to change. Get the lifeboat. That's it, Jojo. I quite agree. So, where do penguins live? We've changed. So, just a few easy questions to finish up with. Where do penguins live? Yeah, where do penguins live? So, I need some space here. Where do penguins live? The moral is travel by aeroplane. So, Nora. If I want to thank someone, is it equal to saying I'm grateful? Yes, you can. In the south, Antarctica and Glover, Count Beauty. In South Africa, I think maybe the further south, on the ice. I like that, Aboud. Human, Antarctica. And Boyka says the Arctic, that would do. Lavinia, in the Arctic. So notice the Arctic is north, Antarctic is south. Elizabeth Bennett, Antarctica. Victor Gabriel, Antarctic. Danielle, Antarctic or in another icy location. In the poles, that's a good phrase. Boyka, South Pole Manu. They live in places where there's ice. That's good, Sally. Lavinia in the Antarctic, Elizabeth the North Pole. Head through this. In the poles, I like that phrase. Hayoshi, Antarctic. Good. In the south of the southern hemisphere. That's perfectly correct, Renyard. Lavinia in the North Pole. Some live in New Zealand, I think. It's possible. I think maybe some live in the south of Chile and Argentina as well. I'm not sure. Jojo, in zoos. I was waiting for someone to say the zoos and the Antarctic. Below the equator, absolutely, Hussein. Manjira, the polar region. Heh. So, do they only live in the South Victor Gable? It's very possible. Habi, they live surrounded by cold and snow. Perfect. Mike, penguins live on the South Pole. Perfect. Montespan, they like it freezing. Danielle, Antarctica. That sounds very good. Okay, so here 2 questions. Where would you make a toast, and where would you make toast? Where would you make a toast, and where would you make toast? 2 questions. Where would you make a toast, and where would you make toast? In God I trust, Caucasian worth at the South Pole. Okay, wilted flower. Antarctica, South Africa, South Argentina, I guess. Some islands located in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so you're with us, Count Beauty. Very good. At a wedding, in a toaster. So, where would you make a toast? Where would you make toast? That's very good, Count Beauty. And Tom K. But which one, Englover? Because there are 2 questions here. So, I want to put these 2 questions up because it's very different. Where would you make a toast, and where would you make toast? So notice one is countable, the other is uncountable. So no, I'd make a toast in a wedding for the newlyweds and definitely make toast in the toaster. Notice, Danielle, make toast. Toast is uncountable. The toast you eat is uncountable, and therefore make toast in the toaster. A piece of toast. Yes, you make a toast during a feast. Toast has 2 meanings as a noun. As an uncountable noun, toast is what you eat for breakfast. And as a countable noun, it's a good wishes for someone. So you make a toast at a wedding. And you make toast in the kitchen. So notice, toast that you eat is uncountable. Absolutely, Manjira. You make a toast at a wedding. You make a toast at a wedding ceremony, and we make toast in a toaster. You've got to be careful with these. Make a toast to celebrate an achievement. Make toast in the morning to get breakfast. That's great. The other way round, Danielle Fabry. Yeah? Okay. Make toast in a toaster. Absolutely, Jayesh. You make a toast during your birthday. Absolutely. Second in the oven, Renyard. First at a party. That's good. Okay, so we got lots of great answers. Always the other way around. It's what happens. So I would like to say thank you to all of you. I'm going to stop here. Particularly thanks to Gertrudis and Lavinia for their donations. It was really kind of both of you. I will be back again next week, and here's a toast to all of you. No, I haven't got anything to drink, unfortunately. Toast can be used as a verb. Yes, Englover, very definitely. Here's to all of you. So I'll see you all next week. Stay safe, look after yourselves, and